Now, job interviews suck dick, as we know. They're not great. You know, when I was still an idiot and you know, looking for the what's the word? Looking for the validation of an employer, going around getting interviewed. I barely got any job interviews, and when I did get them, they were interviews with shit companies who would employ any motherfucker. But you know, I fully empathize with something that's been going on for a while now. You know, people like applying for job after job after job and not getting nothing. You know, it's the sign of the times. Thousands of job applications, nothing. It's hard out there. It's hard out there for a pimp. Pimping yourself to employers. And people in job interviews, you know, some employers really are fucking twats. That's the way. That's the way. But with that in mind, about how many people are, you know, constantly talking about the struggle of actually just getting an interview. Just to get an interview is hard enough these days. But you know, but of course, the real struggle is this girl's struggle. I mean, this is real struggle. So, shall we read about the struggle? I think we should. Let's have a look at what the struggle really is, because it's not the struggle that you think. Your struggle ain't shit, my friend. Okay. So Olivia Bland's, it's an unfortunate surname, but it suits her face, I suppose. Olivia Bland's Web Applications UK interview humiliating. Why? What did they do? Was it like that Chinese firm that got people to drink piss? That wasn't in job interviews. That was just that was the end of month. You at the end of the sales month or something, you got rewarded or you got forced to do horrible things. You know, maybe it was good for productivity if you know you're gonna have to drink someone's piss at the end of the month. Maybe that's good. Maybe other companies should implement that. Maybe it works. Who knows? I don't know. So there is a little video here of her moaning, but we can get to that afterwards. So, a woman who claims, oh, bear in mind, this is a fine drop. Bear in mind, she claims. So we don't know. But even her claims are a little paper thin. So she claims she was subjected to a brutal 2-hour job interview. Fucking 2 hours. Can you imagine a fucking longest job interview I ever had was because the guy was high as fuck. And then I got high as fuck with him. We were both high as fuck, and it just went on and on. And it wasn't even an interview no more. He was like just prank calling people and ordering pizza. It was quite bizarre. I always did think I was on a hidden camera show, but never happened. So she said the company CEO tried his best to intimidate her and assert power. Now, I don't know if you know what a CEO sort of does, but asserting power would be something a CEO should do. It's not assert power. See, it's the word she's using. Assert power. No, it's like, I think maybe it's just being assertive, like just asserting, you know, showing his power is what, you know, CEO is powerful, and therefore power would be asserted. But what do I know about being a CEO apart from being a CEO? Olivia Bland's account of the interview at the UK tech firm in Oldham, Greater Manchester, provoked outrage on social media. Well, where else would outrage be provoked? You know, I mean, if she went into the streets and started just shouting about it, people would move on and think she was an idiot. But on social media, you can shout about anything, and it is validated and picked up by lazy journalists. That's just the way it is. So she made the claims on Twitter. Well, where else would you get confirmation that you've been hard done by? Where else would you go to? You know, you wouldn't have got that sort of stuff on Bebo, would you? No, that's why Bebo went under. Remember that if you're planning on starting up a shit social media business. Schmidt claims on Twitter after the interview at Web Applications UK looks like a thrilling place to work. The firm's CEO, Craig Dean, could be Dean Craig, 2 first names. Don't trust him. Apologised and said he had no desire to see anyone hurt. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that wasn't his intention. I just want to get young girls in here and intimidate them and assert my power and make them cry. That's not even a real job. I just do this for fun. I am evil. I am a CEO. But, on Twitter, Miss Bland wrote she felt Mr. Dean tried to his best to intimidate me and assert power. Well, this we know. Now, let's have a look at this. Is it taking me to Twitter? I apologise. I won't stay quiet. Oh, look at her bio. I won't stay quiet just because my words make you uncomfortable. Well, already? Now, I don't know. She might have just updated that a few days ago, to go along with her newfound pointless fame. But I'd say, and she's got her own website. Ooh, that might be worth looking at. But I'd say off the bat, when you look at a bio like that, you kind of know what you're dealing with. Would I say an overprivileged little oik? Yes, I bloody would, probably. Yeah. Because what she did, yesterday morning I had a job interview for a position at a company called Web Applications UK. So she's just putting them on blast. Because that's what you do when something you don't like happens. A job interview. You put them on blast and shame them for, I'm not really sure what. After a brutal 2-hour interview in which the CEO, Craig Dean, said, look, if it's a 2-hour interview, it's got to be like, I could only imagine it's for a pretty high up position. So already got a good idea about what this situation is. This is a privileged person going for a privileged job. Perhaps, in which CEO Craig Dean puts the CEO on blast. Tore both me and my writing to shreds. And called me an underachiever. It's an opinion. It's his opinion. I was offered the job. This is the outrage, is that she was offered the fucking job. So she said, this is my response today. All right. I would like to thank you for the offer, but I have decided to decline. Now look, it's up to you if you want to decline a job. But I would say if you went for an interview for a higher up position, it was a 2-hour interview. If you were going to decline the job, why don't you just walk out? You don't have to stay there for 2 fucking hours. Why would you stay there for 2 hours and then turn it down? It's insanity to me. That's 2 hours of your precious lifetime gone down the shitter because you turned down the fucking job. Why would you do that? I don't understand that sort of thinking. The interview process yesterday was very uncomfortable for me. I understand the impact that Craig was trying to have, but nobody should come out of a job interview feeling so upset that they cry at the bus stop. No one should cry after a job interview like that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the job interview is horrendous. That may be more of a reflection on your character. Perhaps. I'm very aware of what Craig was trying to do and what he was trying to get out of me. I'm also aware that by sending this email, I am failing his tests and proving that I am not the right fit for his company. There is something very off to me about a man who tries his best to intimidate and assert power over young women and who continues to push even when he can see that he's making somebody... Can we see the rest of this fucking shit? Even when making somebody uncomfortable to the point of tears. I also think that he's very strategic in placing other people in the interview room who have no part in the interview process just to heighten the feeling of power he gets over someone else's humiliation. I think you might be missing... I've never been for a high-end job interview where I've been interviewed by a CEO for 2 hours. I've been interviewed by CEOs, but I'd imagine that this CEO is a more successful CEO than CEOs I've encountered. at job interviews. I'm just throwing that out there. So, you know, have you seen The Apprentice? Looks pretty fucking intimidating. Oh, where's the rest of it? Come on, what's this? All of the things that I mentioned in this email will be ignored and things will carry on as usual at Web Applications UK. I'm also half anticipating an email back from Craig himself explaining line by line why everything that I have stated in this email is wrong. She's making a lot of assumptions about his character, but you know, I guess he did too, so it's a touche. If you have any consideration for a young girl's feelings, I would ask you not to bother. How fucking entitled and ridiculous. Why would we pander to this? Why would this become news? And why would you like validate this sort of behavior? You know, only a girl. And I'll tell you what, only a girl could get away with doing this shit. Imagine if a bloke did this. Like, he'd be like, "Excuse me, son. Excuse me, sonny." You'd be laughed out of the room. Like what? You'd be laughed out of the room. Well, come on. I've just moved back home to Manchester from Brighton after escaping a 1.5 year long abusive relationship. Jesus Christ! Why? Why would you say that? What is going through your mind where you feel that because of your interpretation of how someone is speaking to you, and you're like looking through your lens after being in what you say is a long abusive relationship, why would you bring that mindset into this? So clearly it's like this is on you. Isn't it on you? Like if I went, like I've been in some shitty relationship, I've been in an abusive relationship before, fucking both ways, pow pow pow. I'm saying, if I brought that fucking into if I was interviewing a woman who was saying things to me who made me feel a type of way because of how I feel about myself, and I email them back to fucking state, like that's that is such a ridiculous thing that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that? How can you get away with doing this? Why would you do that? The 2 hours I spent in that room with Craig Dean yesterday felt like I was being sat in a room with my abusive ex. Are you fucking serious? Are you I'm sorry. Anyway, am I laughing at abuse? No. Am I laughing at her? Yeah. Yeah. Like, fucking get real. Do you not think... Like, this is the sort of email you'd send and afterwards go, oh my God, what have I done? Oh shit. But no, instead you go on Twitter and put a guy on blast and everyone panders to it. This is mind-boggling how you can have that, how you can be that privileged. I've always said this about, like, especially in the UK, when I was working in customer services, the level of entitlement, and that's more than privilege, it's entitlement. The level of entitlement that people have is quite astounding, and people from all walks of life, like you wouldn't believe it. It just made me so. It just made me hate the world even more. I was just like, people really are shit. But yeah, if you want to like go work in customer service for a bit, if you've never done it, just go do it for a bit. You'll find a job here. Just do it for fun, and just if you're looking for something to do to get a perspective on the world, work in customer service, and you will be fucking blown away by people's entitlement. Ridiculous amount of entitlement they have to deal with. Shocking. It was 2 hours of being. I mean, I can't believe this. 2 hours of being told I'm not good enough and detailing exactly why. And to top it off, there came the job offer, which I suppose is supposed to make up for all the nasty things he said beforehand. No, it's because he's grilling you, because obviously it's some sort of important position. It's a fucking job interview. What? To make it, I don't think it's the makeup. I don't think he gave you the job to make up for all the nasty things he said. Oh, I was very mean, wasn't I? I'll make up for it. I'll give her the job. That's not how it works. How long have you been out in the world? How long have you been out in the world doing stuff? Like, and somewhere off there came, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I've been in this position before. They tear you down, abuse you, take you to breaking point, and then they take you out to dinner or buy you a present to apologise and make it seem like they're a nice guy. You're fucking insane. You've been in an abusive relationship, and this is triggering you back to that. And I'm talking proper triggering. I'm not talking like, I'm triggered. I'm talking triggering, like in a neuralistic program. They call it triggers. There's triggers. There's triggers that send you to a dark place. Like, basically, you're having your response to this and your response to him is something that's on you. It's on you. How the fuck does he? This is on you. This is not on him. And you put him on blast. You put this guy on blast because you haven't got over this relationship and whatever traumas you've taken from this relationship. And I have no idea what the abuse was like. I have no idea. But then, do you know what the entitlement and the attitude being displayed here would have? I would, and this is a fear. I would theorize because I'd make an assumption here. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe it was super abusive. Maybe it was fucking horrible. Maybe the guy that she was with is a piece of shit and, needs to fucking check himself. Who? No, we don't know. But I would, I would put a strong bet on that it wasn't as abusive as she thought it was. It was just a twat being a twat. Because what is it? They tear you down, abuse you, take you to breaking point, and then take you out. He probably used to go out and get drunk with his friends and ignore her phone calls. I just wouldn't be surprised. Like the amount of times I've heard people just overblow things, especially women. When it comes to, you know how you act. It's like, you just look at another girl and it's like literally you've just stabbed her face off. Go out with your friends and get 400 missed calls and go, "You're tearing me apart!" It's like, I just want to be away from you for a while. I'm just making an assumption. Or maybe he was an abusive cunt. But either way, if I'd like her boyfriend to come forward, I'd like him to come forward and say, and tell us exactly what he did. And if this is my ex-girlfriend, right, and put this on blast, I'd be straight on going, excuse me? I would, unless of course he was a proper abusive cunt, and then I'd probably stay quiet, to be honest, wouldn't you? Yeah, you probably would. You definitely would, right? I am astonished. This job is supposed to be the present. I don't want it. I'm not going through that again in any capacity. I suppose I'm supposed to feel privileged to be good enough for the job. Yes, you are. Do you know why? Because think how many people apply for this. Like how many people applying for positions are not getting good jobs. I mean, I don't know about this position, but it seems like if it was 2 hours, it's with the CEO, and it's I don't know. Seems like it was a privilege to get this. Not everyone has these opportunities, and it's got nothing to do with like any of the reasons that you nutters think. Like it's luck, and it's a whole mixture of hard work, and it's all kinds of things. And you must have been applying for all kinds of fucking jobs, and there must have been something they saw that they liked. And this is what you do. You're an overprivileged twit. There's no other way I could put this. It's like you're over emotional about a relationship you're in, and you've taken that baggage and been completely unprofessional and taken your emotional baggage, your broken lens of what a relationship's done to you. You've used that broken lens to fuck up a job opportunity. This is what you've done. In a high-powered working environment, do you think that this sort of emotional reaction to how you're being interviewed and how and all the things being said about how you got to assert yourself if you want to get to higher position power, like how do you think this? What sort of light do you think this throws on women? How do you think this helps the stigmas that you may hear? The stigmas that are being pushed around that women think, that women need to be more assertive to get in positions of power. or to get pay rises or whatever it is, that women aren't assertive enough, and how hard it is, and that men have this presupposition, this prejudice in their minds about how women are too emotional. That's the thing, isn't it? They say, oh, that's the thing. That's apparently it's a sexist thing. It is a sexist thing, but it's a sexist thing that a man thinks a woman is too emotional to be in a position of power, or in a good job, in a high prospects job. How do you think this affects that that stereotype that people might have? Do you think this is helping? This is not helping. This is helping nobody. Nobody wins. No one's going to win here. You don't win. The CEO definitely doesn't win, because now he's going to be shamed for fuck knows what, put on blast like that, and his company, which could affect all kinds of things. How self-centered and right, like, what is your problem? Well, we know what your problem is. Sort it out. If you need, look, you need to address this issue that you got. You go see a therapist, and I think you might be the sort of person that can afford it. Or go talk to someone. Jesus Christ, if it's that bad, if you're suffering the trauma from being in an abusive relationship so much that you have to that you react to a job interview in this manner, then you need to sort yourself first, then do something else. But this approach, and it's not necessarily I mean, this is the ramblings of someone who fucking shouldn't have been rambling on. But instead of addressing the real issues, no one's addressing the real issues. This is crazy. They're just using it for clickbait journalism and for political sort of gains and cultural, whatever the fuck is going on these days. Who knows? But it's like people just jump onto it and use it for that instead of addressing the real fucking problem. Is that she's got a problem. She has a problem and a chip on her shoulder when she went into a job interview. And then seeing this guy and he's going, he's doing what Rufus used to do. I'm just going to assume her ex-boyfriend's called Rufus. He's doing that Rufus thing to me. He's telling me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. Well, I do, because I'm the CEO. I'm the fucking boss. Chain of command. That's how it works. Unbelievable. So what sentence are we on? I don't want to line up with somebody who gets a kick out of attacking young women, calling them underachievers and making them visibly uncomfortable. That's not somebody that I ever want to work for, and none of the perks of the job could possibly tempt me. It's just, people are assholes in job interviews. That's how it works. What the fuck are you gonna? What do you expect to do when you go on a job interview? Oh, love and kisses and huggy wuggies too. Sorry, do you feel safe right now? Now this, why did you leave that job? Is that a right to ask if you left that job? Do you mind if I ask you some questions about your temperament? Like, what the fuck? A kick out of attacking. What? How? You've just gone in there and you've just made so many assumptions about what it was about. That's not right. So I would also like to make it known that there are a number of reviews about your company and Craig online all saying very similar things to me. I'm sure that this isn't the first email of this nature that you've received. I bet it fucking is. So you're probably already aware. I'm also sure that this won't be the last. It has been a pleasure to meet you, Naomi and Rebecca, and you all seem very lovely people. It's a shame that we won't be working together. Best of luck for the future. You absolute tid. Look at her, man. I'm sorry. So it's mind-boggling. That's crazy. The interview had begun. I mean, let's just read this. Might as well read this, isn't it? Fucking, yeah. The interview had begun in an utterly bizarre fashion, she said, in which he picked on her music tastes before revealing he was scrolling through her Spotify account. Now, I don't know why someone would do that. would go through someone's Spotify account. But now we've framed this a bit better by reading her whole account and what she said about her boyfriend. How is that a normal thing to do? It's fucking mad. If someone wrote that to me, I'd just burst out laughing. I'm laughing out. I'm like, Jesus. You imagine being in an interview and then she goes, "You're doing what my ex-boyfriend does. I hate him." That's what that is. It's fucked. People are validating this. People are validating this girl. She's been interviewed on Radio 5. It's in that. Whoa. If you can't see it, it's ridiculous. You're ridiculous. He then, he might have been just devil's advocate. He might have just been joking or making jokes. That sounds like something like bad, Maybe the guy just tries to be funny and just isn't. I mean, have you ever heard of someone in a powerful position who always tries to be funny and it falls flat, but you just go, because everyone laughs because he's the boss. So he thinks he's funny because everyone's a yes man going, that was funny. Jesus Christ, that joke shit. Leanne asked a lot of personal questions, she said, before tearing apart line by line everything she had submitted in the written part of the application process. Well, what personal questions? And she didn't mention enough about the personal questions in that letter. If he was asking personal questions, I would address that in the letter. She's the one who's made this fucking personal. I didn't see anything in that email reply. I mentioned, you asked me some very personal questions. If someone asks you some very personal questions, you'd address that. But all she's done is just rambled on about how it's brought back traumatic memories of a relationship. It's like, what? You're clearly someone who, if that's the case, you need some sort of therapy. That's it. End of. That's the real story here. Girl has trauma memory. Later in the interview, he asked me, "How do you think it went?" He said, "I'll tell you how it went," and listed off everything bad he thought I did in the interview. Okay, well that's good. Now you know. And you still got the fucking job. He told me everything I did was wrong, everything I said, the way I sat, my body language, everything that he could do to attack me. It's a critique. I'm sure it's just a critique. What the fuck are you going on about? Like, you can just tell from that message she wrote that, like, she's totally, like, you're listening to someone saying stuff from a very skewed perspective right now. There's no other way to really look at it now. Because I could read this before and play devil's advocate on both of it, but now I've read the whole message she said to him, I was like, nah, that's crazy. She later revealed she was actually offered the position but declined to take it. Yes, we know. Apologising on social media, Mr. Dean said, "I have no desire to see anyone hurt and can only apologise if anything I've done has had this effect." Hearing someone is in pain is heartbreaking. Well, after that message, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Hearing that they feel you're the cause is devastating. When that person explicitly asks you not to respond, you have to respect that, and I shall continue to, even if it means the accusations go unanswered. Yes, they're accusations. I have no desire to see anyone hurt and can only apologise if anything that I've done has had that effect. It was not my intent. I care deeply for the plight of all people, particularly those. Oh, this goes on as well, I suppose. So that page doesn't exist. Oh my god. He's probably deleted his Twitter. Is that what I think the guy's deleted his Twitter. Or it's just a bad link. Oh well, we won't know the rest of what he said. Well, we could do, but I think we get the point. Web Applications UK said it had conducted an investigation into the allegations and was satisfied no bullying or intimidation occurred during the interview. Nonetheless, the directors are extremely saddened by the incident and the impact that this has had on the individual concerned, particularly as we are a company that takes great pride in nurturing the aspirations of young people, it said in a statement. We will take this opportunity to reflect carefully on our recruitment process and HR policies. Don't fucking bother. Right? Now, if the two girls are in that interview alongside Mr. Dean and they spoke out and said something, fair enough, but they haven't. So and this girl, with just framing it as if just hearing her so-called abusive ex-boyfriend in her brain when she's getting interviewed Has somehow made this into a thing, and people are like praising her for being, for not getting over a relationship and taking your personal business into an interview. And how many people do you think are going to want to employ you after this debacle? Like, only a lunatic would employ you now. Like, seriously, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? How can you go in a Reddit interview? And how can look at this interview? Do you think they even read?
I just felt very under attack.
Thanks. Livia tweeted about a bad job interview. Lordy-dardy loony land, here we are, and received thousands of messages of support.
There was a lot of intimidating questions.
What kind of thing?
So my writing was being ripped apart. My character was being ripped apart.
What? How? What were they saying?
I was being called an underachiever.
Oh my God.
My writing.
Imagine being called an underachiever. An underachiever. Do you know what underachiever means? It means you've underachieved, as in your potential. This sees someone in fucking... You're an underachiever. You have potential. You're an underachiever. But at Web Applications UK under me, Craig Dean, you will be an overachiever. You'll be reaching for the fucking stars. That's probably what he said.
Read through it and sort of took it line by line, told me everything that was wrong with it, everything that was wrong with the way I was sitting, the way I was talking.
The way you were sitting?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well, how were you sitting? You sat like this.
Here, alright. Can I get job now? Is it alright to get me job? Yeah. I'm better than that.
Like, what?
Oh, you remind me of my
on the way I held my arms, my body, sort of the way I came across, I suppose, which, I mean, I can understand to some degree.
Alright, well, that's good. I like the way they show that. Here's a picture of this woman who was traumatized by her ex-boyfriend. Strong.
Look, there will probably be one or two people listening who say, oh, come on, don't be that awful phrase, snowflake.
Oh,
that awful phrase, snowflake. I wouldn't use the fucking term snowflake. Not at all. This girl has openly admitted in a fucking email that, like, she had traumatic... It reminded her of her ex-boyfriend. Motherfucker. Are you serious? Why didn't you get to that bit and going... It's like... Like, man, this has done so much disservice for women. I cannot begin to tell you. Think about all those high-powered CEOs who already have... I'm going to say it again. Already have that thing of, oh, women are just a bit emotional for these high-powered positions. And she does this. Saying, oh, I cried at the bus stop. Why? You just reminded me of my ex-boyfriend. What have you done? Turned down a job. You've made yourself unemployable, except by loonies. Vox will employ you. The BBC probably will. And then they'll sack you a few years later when they, unless you deal with the complications that you have inside your own mind. And I know what it's like. We've all been there. A lot of us have been there. Shit. This ain't the way. To write that email, you're going to be so embarrassed by that. You should be embarrassed that you said that and turned the job down like that. But to go on radio, to go on Twitter, why are they validating this and putting unbelievable? Fuck this shit. I'm like, unbelievable. I'm out. Good riddance. Bye bye.